Jungle temples are boring. They're the second smallest structure in all of Minecraft. They have practically nothing inside that's worth any sort of value. They serve very little purpose in teaching the player or challenging the player in any way, but they could be so much better. As Minecraft has evolved, structures have gotten better and better, and that looks like it's going to be even more true in 1.19 with the underground cities. So why don't we make jungle temples not be boring? And if you like the sound of that, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Overall, jungle temples serve as intro to redstone, which is part of what we're going to do in the overall build. But we're also going to make them more interesting to explore and conquer and give them better loot, because a few diamonds and one piece of gold, that doesn't cut it, not compared to some of the other structures in the game. Next to a witch's hut, which is something we'll do for Halloween if this video does well, jungle temples are the smallest structure in the game, coming in under 20 blocks in any dimension. Compare that to an ocean monument, which takes up this square right here, or a woodland mansion, which is even bigger. Pillagers are compensating for something for sure. This is what we're going to limit ourselves to as our build palette. 58 blocks by 58 blocks to encompass the entire jungle temple and the surrounding structures, because we're going to be adding surrounding structures. And while I'm doing a little bit of world editing, I would like to tell you about the sponsor of this video, you. You've probably heard of Patreon. Almost every creator on the platform has a Patreon, and there's a reason why. YouTube and Twitch and everything else, they take a big cut off of anything that we earn as creators. Patreon lets us create a place where I'm actually in control. It's the best place to support me in what is my job. YouTube, this is my job as I continue on the stream and I can make more awesome content for all of you. So if you like what I do here, you want to support me, you want to see even more out of me, go check me out on Patreon. You get to be able to download my maps from my 100 days videos as well as this series, and you can join the ranks of a bunch of awesome people just like Zenmo Player, one of our star patrons. So go check it out, patreon.com/Legundo, link is in the description. So let's talk build palette. Cobblestone and mossy cobblestone is still going to be a big part of the overall build. We're going to incorporate some of the walls, which are newer than jungle temples themselves. Something that I find is a good addition with that is polished andesite. It acts as kind of the big chonky keystone brick compared to everything else, and it's similar in color. We're gonna use some iron bars for some traps, as well as just blocking some areas off and making it look a little bit more varied as far as its block palette. It also allows you to see a target and not be able to access it. But wait, you could just mine through them, you're saying, and don't worry, I'm getting to that. We're also going to incorporate all of the wood variants, everything from the jungle in this space. Additionally, we're going to switch out all of the chests for barrels. I just think they are more thematically appropriate. We're going to have redstone components as a part of the project as well. Obviously, we're going to have the tripwires, which are available, some sticky pistons, repeaters, redstone, torches, and gravel, which is going to be very important. Again, bear with me. The main treasure is going to be a bunch of emeralds. They're going to be piled up just kind of like this, and they're going to look like this. We're going to have chests that have other loot in them, but a couple blocks of emeralds, like 3 to 4 blocks of emeralds, is going to be the main loot for Jungle Temple. Kind of similar to the gold blocks, which are available for Ocean Monument. Now, we've talked a few parts about how you won't be able to go through that, and gravel will be important. While I'm taking the thing I kind of love the most from Ocean Monuments and bringing it to Jungle Temples as well. Introducing the Idol. The Idol would be a new block, kind of similar to the copper golem, rest in peace. That would be a statue in the center of the jungle temple. And the idol, when redstone powered, would give you mining fatigue. It would probably have a different particle effect than an Elder Guardian, because that just wouldn't make sense. Or maybe the idol can look like an Elder Guardian, so that way the same particle effect could be used to apply mining fatigue. And with mining fatigue, it's gonna take you a long time to get through even just one piece of these iron bars, but it's gonna be way easier to clear the monument in other ways. And also, it makes gravel really dangerous, because if you don't know, if a block falls on top of you, you start to suffocate. Now, normally you can dig this out, but I have mining fatigue, And it's not happening. So the goal of a jungle temple now becomes to unpower the idol. So that way, you don't get mining fatigue anymore, and then you can actually clear the structure and obtain the loot within. It increases the danger and makes it a little bit more interesting without being completely broken. So let's build a spot to keep this beautiful thing. Before we start on the temple itself, I want to work on a little bit on the courtyard area and the surrounding structures. First thing I set up was 4 of these statues designed to look like jungle versions of a villager head, kind of similar to a Moa statue that you would see on Easter Island. I have a campfire here to provide an auditory cue that you are close to a jungle temple, but the smoke is blocked on the first of them. And then I had different variants that were broken and smashed in different ways, one with the nose snapped off so you would have a visual cue as well. Once I had the variants, I started marking out the overall space I wanted the courtyard to take, using concrete to measure everything else out, and I actually use concrete a lot to mark things that I'm going to then replace. I pasted in all of the statues and then started working on the entrance to the area, using jungle wood, stripped wood, and some mossy cobblestone and waterlogged blocks to make this feel a little bit more run down and ruined. I added 2 central spires right in front of the area, as well as a well that mimics the shape of the portal that you see in the end, with very simple geometric references connecting the lore of different areas in the Minecraft world. Once I had done that, I used World Edit to do a little bit of randomization on the ground, adding some path, cobblestone, mossy cobble, and coarse dirt blocks for the central courtyard to feel like it was once a little bit more colonized and set up, and then since had been reclaimed by the jungle itself. Added a few boulders that I switched out for cobblestone as well, mimicking the boulders that you see in giant taiga areas, before moving on to the temple itself, setting up all of the floors to be primarily cobble and mossy cobble, and then creating a larger 3-to-1 ratio version of the structure that we see on existing temples, with the 2 blocks just sticking out. This one is a heck of a lot more detailed and wider. I used concrete, that way I could do replacements in World Edit and not copy the same block pattern from one instance of the pattern to the next. From there, it was time to do the redstone, and it was time for one of my nightly streams on Twitch. Now, I did copy this audio a little bit badly, so the stream music is in the background. I'll cut away the normal background music, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what the intent was behind this redstone, because it is not a redstone tutorial by any sense of the word. Okay, and here's our trap. Here's a cross section of what we're going to include to kill the player with gravel. So we have a pile of gravel on the second floor, on the main floor. Not ominous at all. It's just a pile of gravel. It's clearly decorative. There's nothing happening here, nothing suspicious about this. And then you come down here and you step through it. Oh no! Oh, we're suffocating to death. Oh, how horrible. It's the worst. Why is my clicking up? Okay, there we go. I was pointing down apparently. So let's quickly just show off how this works. It is not fancy redstone. I am not mumbo jumbo. This is Legundo level redstone, but it's also kind of vanilla-ish. It is not super complex, and considering players can find this early game, there's not a ton of redstone components here. There's just a bit. I can actually delete that. That's easy. But look at all the things we're teaching players about redstone, right? We're teaching them torches generate power. Torches can go onto blocks. You have repeaters going into the blocks that power the pistons above. You have a line that goes underneath the ground. You see that it needs an air block above it to have power. You have this gap, which is very suspiciously left here. You also have a repeater here, a very weak signal going in and a very strong signal coming out. So all of this is teaching the player how redstone works, which is what jungle temples are here for. And then you have the exact same thing over here, and then pistons over here. Now, if you were to break the if you trip the string, the gravel falls. If you break the string, the gravel falls. Now, the successful way of getting through would be to jump over the string. There you go. You've defeated the trap. You jumped. Woo! Jump! And there you go. Trap is defeated. Now, if you happen to trip it and the gravel falls, you still have mining fatigue. So getting through this is going to take some time. So we're going to have an alternate route to get to that lever of deactivating that specific element of the idol. So we're getting somewhere, but it's not quite there yet, but this is a good start. And now for the redstone tutorial part of a jungle temple. We have 4 main traps: the gravel trap, the levers of choice, where you can pick greed with an emerald block or knowledge with the chiseled block. One blows up the emeralds on top of the building. The other deactivates one of the lines powering the idol. Third is just a lever directly after the gravel trap. And fourth is a level on the outer side of the building, just to incorporate the overall structure into the build. To incorporate more redstone elements and to provide another small challenge and puzzle for the overall structure, I built a small maze immediately following the lower level lever, try saying that 3 times fast, to allow a player to continue going through, hitting a pressure plate, which would trigger a piston-powered door. Again, educating new players on the idea that you can use sticky pistons to make seamless hidden doors in your walls. I also covered up some very basic arrow traps with a poison-tipped arrow. Just 1 per jungle temple as a unique way to get tipped arrows and to fit more with the old school pulp fiction of poison darts in an abandoned temple. With all of the redstone in place, it's time to work on the actual aesthetics of the structure. I used a lot of vines and leaves, overgrowing almost all of the overall structure, and hid a little campfire and a bedroll with some carpets in the back behind the gravel pile of somebody who had looted the jungle temple before you and was lost to time here. I repeated the same process of using concrete to build out the overall structure, repeating the wall pattern on the second tier of the jungle temple, and using spires to incorporate the idea of these central columns, which we used in the courtyard and now on the uppermost level. I have the entire thing open to air from the top, very similar to traditional Aztec pyramids, and since they always face east, that's a nice lore-based detail for the overall build. As all of the structures was now built, it was time to overgrow it and have the jungle reclaim the space. I used a lot of leaves and jungle vines throughout the entirety of the structure, being able to just coat everything and make it a little bit trickier to get through. I used a lot of leaves around the exterior as well, having bushier leaf piles around most of it, growing a tree almost impossibly up out of the stone, as you do see sometimes with trees actually growing through some of these structures, as well as regenerating the jungle to bring it in a lot closer to the overall space. I even planted a few trees manually in the middle of the courtyard on top of the grass blocks to make it just not look like a void and instead something that is slowly being overtaken by nature. And the final result is something that I'm really happy with. I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is the first something like this that I've ever done. Obviously, I've done big mega builds on the hardcore world. I've completely converted an ocean monument to the nether, but I never tried to convert a jungle temple to a better jungle temple. And, well, I think we've done that. If you want to explore this map, I'm not going to do a run through of the whole thing. You've seen me build it. If you want to, you can go download this map on my Patreon. Anybody who supports at the Legend Plus tier or higher gets all of the maps from my 100 Days videos and also from this series. And if you all like this series, well, go give it a whole bunch of likes, and if it does well, we'll do other ones really soon. I already have an idea for a desert temple. I just need to get started, and I'm gonna make that video if y'all are gonna watch it. But that's it for me, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment. If you made it all the way to the end, talk about pineapples or something. That would be wonderful. That lets me know that you made it, and you're so much more cooler. I'll probably go heart your comment. But that's it for me. Until next time, take care of yourselves, be good to each other. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.